At the presentation for exercise 6, cost allocation. May I call on Ma'am Roweline Manalansan?
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
sir.
ma'am.
Sir Bong, turn off ko lang yung camera, nag-unstable po. Mobile data lang kasi gamit ko. So, yun po. Anyway, good morning, classmates. Good morning, sir. So, together with me are Sir Clay and Sir Gio. We are the group 4 and we will be discussing with you the answers on exercises number 6 pertaining to cost allocation. So, as previously discussed, cost allocation is the process of identifying, accumulating, and assigning cost to cost objects such as departments, products, programs, or a branch of a company. So we also learned during the meeting last week the methods in allocating the service department's cost to operating departments using the direct and step-down methods. So for exercise number 6-3, using sales dollars as an allocation base for fixed costs. So the problem is Conic Enterprises Limited owns and operates 3 restaurants in Vancouver. The company allocates its fixed admin expenses to the 3 restaurants on the basis of sales dollars. So as shown in the table po, the fixed admin cost is already given, which is 2 million. So these were allocated to the 3 restaurants, which are Rick's Harbor Side with sales of 16 million or 40% of the total sales. Imperial Garden with 15 million sales or 37.5% of the total sales, and Ginger Work with 9 million sales or 22.5% of the total sales. So later on, we will be discussing how to get the allocation based on the percentage sales. So in the following year, the Imperial Garden restaurant increased its sales by 10 million. But as you can see, the other 2 restaurants remain unchanged. So let us, since the fixed admin expenses is also given at 2 million in 2009, let us get now the allocation per restaurant. Next slide, please, sir. Yeah. So the requirements for number 1, using sales dollars as an allocation base, show the allocation of the fixed admin expenses among the 3 restaurants for 2009. So, Sir Gio, next slide, please. To get the requirement number 1, the formula will be the percentage of total sales multiplied by the fixed cost is equal to the cost allocation. So as mentioned, fixed cost is already given at 2 million. So you just have to multiply the percentage of total sales times fixed cost. So for Rick's Harbor Side, its sales remain unchanged with 16 million or 32% of the total sales, which is 50 million. Imperial Garden, which is significantly increased by 10 million or total of 25 million or 50% of the total sales. And Ginger Work with 9 million or 18% of the total sales. So you just have to multiply again the percentage of total sales times fixed cost. So the percentage of total sales of Rick's Harbor Side is 32%, times 2 million is equal to 640,000. Imperial Garden, 50% times 2 million is 1 million. And the last one is Ginger Work with 18% of the total sales times 2 million. So that's the allocation base on the percentage sales. So number 2 requirement, you have to compare your allocation from one above to the allocation for 2008. So in order to know what I should feel if I will be the manager of the Imperial Garden, I should know the difference of the fixed cost in previous years, in previous year of 2008 versus 2009. And likewise, the sales in 2008 versus 2009. So the allocated fixed cost in 2008 for Imperial Garden, as mentioned a while ago, is 750,000. While in 2009, it became 1 million, which means uh, uh, it has an increase of 250,000 or 33.33% based on previous year. In 2009, sales increased by 10 million, which is 66.67% of 2008. It is acceptable and fair because the rise in sales exceeds the increase in fixed expenses, which is just 2.5% or 250,000 of the growth in sales. So number 3 requirement, comment on the usefulness of sales dollars as an allocation base. So as we agreed, it is a poor choice because sales dollars fluctuate from period to period and the costs being allocated are often largely fixed. Allocation of service department costs based on sales can create a situation where the sales of one department influence the service department costs allocated to other departments. So for next exercise, Sergio, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Rovi. So, the next exercise is about direct method. So the given problem is the Shuttle Western University has provided the following data to be used in its service department cost allocation. So as you can see on the screen, um, as you can see on the screen, we have the two departments, the service and operating department. So to under these departments, we have, oh, sorry. Under this department, we have administration, facility services for the service department, undergrad and graduate programs for operating department. So each department has an initial cost of 2,400,000 for administration and 1,600,000 for the facility, 26,800,000 for the undergraduate, and 5,700,000 for the graduate program. So the department on the operating departments has 20,000 hours for the undergraduate programs, 5,000 for the graduate program. So the space occupied per square feet for the administration, we have 25,000. For the facility, we have 10,000. For the undergraduate, we have 70,000. In the graduate program, with 30,000. So the requirement for this problem is use the direct method, allocate the cost of the service departments to the two operating departments. So first, we allocate the administration cost to the operating department using the student credit hours, and the facilities services costs using the space occupied. So as you can see, we have the given here data in the row in the pink rows. So in order to allocate first for the direct method, so we first do the administration cost, which is 2,400,000. So we just use this this formula to show kung paano namin nakuha yung mga item. So to allocate first the administration cost to the two the two operating departments. So we start with the undergraduate programs. So the cost for administration, which is 2,400 at 2,400,000. So we multiply it with the hours under the graduate and under the undergraduate program, which is 20,000 divided by the total number of hours, which is 25,000. So we get 1,920,000. For the graduate programs, we multiply 2,400,000 by uh, the quotient of the hours under the graduate program, which is 5,000, divided by the total number of hours, which is 480,000. So next, we allocate the cost for facility services with 1,600,000. So 1,600,000 was multiplied to the number of space occupied under the undergraduate program, which is 70,000, divided by the total number of space occupied, which is 100,000. So we get 1,120,000. For the next program, we have the 1,600,000 multiplied by the number of square feet, which is 30,000, divided by the total number of square feet. So we have 480,000. So total it. Uh, we add the initial cost before allocation in undergraduate program. We have to 26,800,000, and you add the uh, allocated cost from the administration and the financial facility services. We have the total of 29,840,000. For the graduate program, we have the initial cost of 5,700,000. So we add the two added costs, which is 480,000 and 480,000. We have the total of $6,660,000. So total of 36,500,000 was allocated to the operating department. So the next exercise, we have the step down method. So Madison Park Co-op, a Whole Food grocery and gift shop, has provided the following data to be used in its services department as allocation. So the same, we have two departments and two sub-departments for each the departments. We have the administration, the janitorial, the groceries, and gifts. So initial cost before allocation, we have 150,000, 40,000, 2,320,000, and 950,000. So we have the employee hours in each departments. So we have 320, 160, 3,100, and 740. And also we have the space occupied by square feet, 250, 100, and 4,000 and 1,000. So the requirement on this item is using the step down method, allocate the cost of the service departments to the two operating departments. So administration costs will be allocated first on the basis of employee hours, and then the janitorial using the space occupied. So here's the answer. So the given, here are the given. So first we allocate the cost for administration, which is 150 to be allocated to the janitorial, to the groceries, and to the gifts department. So we multiply 150,000 to the number of employee hours in janitorial, divide by the total number of employee hours. So as you can see, 4,000 siya. So we add, in order to get the total number of hours, so we add the hours from the janitorial, from the groceries, and from the gifts. So we have 40,000. So we divide it, we get the cost of $6,000. For the groceries, we multiply 150,000 multiplied by the number of employee hours, which is 3,100, divide by the total number of hours, which is 4,000. We have um, 116,250. So for the gifts department, we multiplied the cost for administration 150,000 multiplied by the number of employee hours, which is 740, divided by the total number of hours, which is 4,000. So we get 20,707.50. Next, we allocate janitorial expenses using the space occupied by square feet. So as you can see, the the cost of the cost after allocation, the cost before allocation, so parang nag-add siya for the 40,000 for the initial cost of janitorial. So na-add yung 6,000 na nakuha natin from the administration. So we total it to 40,000. So 46,000 will be allocated now to the two operating department. So using the same formula, we multiply 46,000 by the number of space occupied, which is 4,000, divide by the total number of square occupied, which is 5,000, we get 36,800. And next we have 40,000 multiplied naman to the space occupied for the gifts, which is 1,000, divided by the total number of space occupied, which is 5,000. So we have the total of 9,200. So we sum up the cost allocated. So for the groceries department, we have the initial cost, which is 2,320,000. So we add the cost that we got from the administration, which is 116,250, and add natin sa cost that we got from the janitorial service departments, which is 36,800. So we have the total of $2,473,050 for the groceries department. And for the gifts, same computation. We added the initial cost for 950,000 and the cost from the administration service department 27,750, and the cost from the janitorial services department, which is 9,200, we added, so we got 986,950 for a total of 3,460,000. 3,460,000, I'm sorry. So for the next exercise, is Circle available already?
Yes, yes po, sir.
Okay, for the next exercise, may I present to you the next presenter, Sir Clay?
Yeah, thank you, Sir Gio. So let's all read for exercise 6, task 6, which will be using the step-down method. So let's all read the problem. So the Ferry Publishing Company has 3 service departments and 2 operating departments. Selected data from recent period on the 5 departments as follow. So here now, unlike the previous problem, we have 3 service departments, namely administration, janitorial, and maintenance. We have 2 operating departments, which are binding and printing. The initial cost for administration is 140,000. For janitorial, it's 105,000. For the maintenance, it's 48,000. For the binding, it's 275,000. And for the printing, it's 430,000. For the step-down method, it was will be using it's also called the sequential, wherein the other service departments will also absorb some cost of the other service departments. So here, the company allocates service department cost by the step down with the following order. First, administration would be allocated based on the number of employees. Second, janitorial will be allocated based on the space occupied. And lastly, maintenance will be allocated based on the hours of press time. So what's the requirement for this? Using the step-down method, allocate the service department cost to the operating departments. Next slide, sir. So now, as you can see, for the number of employees, for administration, allocation will be based on the number of employees. So what we did here is we added all the absorbing, the departments who will be absorbing the cost, which is janitorial, maintenance, binding, and printing. So the 35 hours of janitorial plus maintenance plus binding and printing would equal to 700 hours. For the janitorial services, it was stated that it will be allocated based on the square feet. So for the janitorial, the remaining departments that would absorb that cost would be the maintenance, binding, and printing. So we'll be adding all the square feet of those of 20,000 for maintenance, 40,000 for binding, and 100,000 for printing, which is equals to 160,000. For the remaining of binding and printing, which will absorb the cost of the maintenance, it will be 30,000 of hours of press time plus for the printing of 60,000, which is equals to 90,000. So now let's first allocate the administration cost of 140,000, which was stated in the problem, wherein we'll be first distributing it to the other 4 departments. So for janitorial, the allocation would be the 140,000 initial cost multiplied by the 35 hours allocated over the total hours of 700, which will be equal to 7,000. For the maintenance departments, we'll just be using the same formula. What would only be the difference is the number of employees, which is the numerator for the allocation. So 140,000 of administration multiplied by 140 hours over the total hours of 700 hours is equals to 28,000. So you can just substitute them for the binding and the printing, or well, for the binding, the 315 hours would be equal to 63,000 of allocated cost. For the printing, it would be 40,000. And now here's where the difference lies for the direct method, wherein the cost to be allocated for the janitorial service department would include the initial cost of 105,000 plus the absorbed administration cost of 7,000. So it will be equal to 112,000. So for this one, as I've said earlier, the allocation base would be the total allocation that would be used is the 160,000 square feet. So the one for the allocation of maintenance will be multiplying 112,000 by the 20,000 allocated square feet. Oh, 22. Yeah, 20,000 allocated square feet over the total square feet of 160,000, which is equals to 14,000. For the binding department, we just use the same formula, just different numerator is the allocation of 40,000, which will be equal to 28,000. So for the printing, same, of the 100,000 over the 160,000 square feet multiplied by the total cost of 112,000 is equals to 70,000. And lastly, as stated in the problem, wherein we'll be allocating the maintenance based on the hours of press time, the total is 90,000 hours. So we just multiply all the, first let's have the total cost to be allocated, which is the 48,000 initial cost plus the absorbed cost from administration, which is 28,000, plus the janitorial cost of 14,000. It will all equal to 90,000. And now this is the last allocation as stated in the problem, where the basis would be the hours of press time. So the 90,000 total cost multiplied by the 30,000 allocated hours of press time for binding department over the total number of hours of 90,000 is equal to $30,000. So for the printing, just use the same formula, just changing the numerator of 60,000. So it'll be $60,000. So for the total of binding, we just all add the 275,000 allocated initial cost plus the administration cost of 63,000 plus the janitorial of 28,000 plus the maintenance of 30,000 is equals to a total of 396,000. And for the printing, the 430,000 initial cost plus the allocated administration of 42,000 plus the janitorial of 70,000 plus the maintenance of 60,000 is equals to 602,000. So now let's proceed to the second requirement. So we'll refer to the same data with the ferry publishing company in 6-6, assuming that the company uses the direct method rather than the step-down method to allocate service department costs. How much cost would be assigned to each operating department? So let's proceed to the next slide. Here you can see the difference where the operating department's allocation base would be only be used. For the administration, based on the number of employees, the total number of hours would only be 525, which is 315 of the binding, 315 hours of the binding department plus the printing of 210 is equals to 525. So for the janitorial, which will be allocated based on the square feet, we have 40,000 square feet for binding department plus the printing of 100,000 is equals to 140,000. And for the maintenance, based on the hours of press time, 30,000 hours plus 60,000 hours is equals to 90,000. So here we'll just directly allocate the service department cost to the operating departments. So here for the administration, 140,000 of cost, total cost multiplied by the 315 number of employees over the 525 number of employees is equals to 84,000. For printing department, the allocation would be 140,000 multiplied by 210 number of employees over 525 number of employees equals to 56,000. Same for janitorial, we'll just use the allocation base of the square feet here and directly allocate them to the operating departments. The 105,000 total cost multiplied by the 40,000 square feet of binding over the total total square feet of 140,000 is equals to 30,000, and just substituting it the numerator will get 75,000 for printing department. For the maintenance allocation, we'll be using the hours as the basis, the hours of press time. So 48,000 multiplied by the 30,000 hours over the total hours of 90,000 is equals to 16,000. And for the 48,000 of maintenance cost multiplied by the allocated hours of printing of 60,000 over the total hours of 90,000 is equals to 30,000. So we just all add up for the binding of 275, 84, 30, and 16 will come up with 405,000 for the binding department. While for printing, adding up all the costs absorbed from the different service departments is equal to 593,000. That's all. Thank you. Do you have any questions, po?